Look, from now on, this is your new home. We don't need someone who's sick here." Those words hit me like a sudden gust of wind. Before I could even react, I found myself being driven away and somehow ended up at my aunt's house. It happened so fast that I hardly had time to process it. My father had coldly declared that he wouldn't cover my medical expenses anymore, all to fund my sister's study abroad. I was left speechless, numb, unable to grasp the reality of his words. Yet, the moment I arrived, my aunt greeted me with warmth that melted some of the fear clinging to my heart. "Sonia, won't you become my child?" she asked, her voice gentle, full of hope. From that day forward, I began a new chapter in my life as my aunt and uncle's daughter. 10 years have passed since then. My name is Sonia, and I have two sets of parents. One I view with disdain and disappointment. The other I deeply respect and cherish. You might wonder why I have two sets of parents. It's because my illness disrupted the balance of my original family. Since I was young, I suffered frequent, unpredictable seizures requiring constant care. Even with medication, stress and fatigue could trigger an episode, which meant my parents strictly forbade me from any physical activity. Gym class was always a spectator sport for me, and playing freely with friends was a distant dream. Meanwhile, my younger sister Noelle, for years my junior, seemed to effortlessly embody all our parents' expectations. Energetic, talented, and ambitious, she thrived in everything she tried, especially basketball. From elementary school, she joined a well-regarded mini basketball club, her skills rapidly improving. Later, she became a star at a renowned sports club, playing as a starting member, often leading her team in competitions against older players. Watching her excel filled me with pride, but also a twinge of envy. As Noelle grew, my parents' favoritism became painfully clear. Meals were a stark example. Noelle received freshly cooked, nutritious food, while I mostly had plain bread, instant soup, or leftovers. Clothing was another divide. Noelle's outfits were always new and stylish. Mine were hand-me-downs for birthdays, Christmas, and school events. While Noelle was nurtured and celebrated, I was often overlooked, fading into the background. Despite the disparity, my little sister's innocence shone through. "Big sister, want to play basketball with me?" she'd ask, eyes sparkling with excitement. "I can't do intense exercise," I'd reply reluctantly. She would pause, thinking, then smile brightly. "Well, maybe we can at least pass the ball." She held it out to me full of hope. I wanted to try, but my mother intervened harshly. "Sonia, you don't know when a seizure might strike." "Stop it," she shouted, jerking the ball away from my hands. Noelle froze, her small face etched with confusion as the ball rolled to the floor. My mother picked it up and returned it to my sister with a sweet smile. "All right, let's just practice passing together," she said, guiding Noelle away. Left alone, I felt a wave of sadness and frustration wash over me, and I cried quietly, swallowing my pain. One vivid memory from my first year of middle school stands out. It was a spring morning, and I felt ill, bedridden. Noelle had an important basketball game, so my parents left me alone to attend it. The combination of illness and abandonment amplified my anxiety. By noon, I experienced a severe seizure and immediately called for an ambulance. When I woke, I was lying in a hospital bed, surrounded by sterile walls and unfamiliar machines. "Son, you're in the hospital. Do you understand me?" a nurse asked kindly. I nodded, scanning the room. My family hadn't come. "They'll visit tomorrow morning. You're on your own tonight," the nurse said. Tears stung my eyes as I realized that even in a moment of crisis, no one from my family cared. It felt like I didn't belong, like I was merely an inconvenience. Eventually, my parents, under pressure from neighbors, started leaving me at my aunt's house. My aunt and uncle, both working in game development, had no children of their own and welcomed me eagerly. "It's fun having Sonia around, like having our own child," my aunt would say. They introduced me to games they created, imaginative worlds I could explore for hours. Meals were shared, homemade, and delicious. My aunt even joyfully chose clothes for me, something I'd longed for all my life. Their home became a sanctuary, a place where I felt cherished and secure. When summer vacation approached during my first year of junior high, my father brought me to my aunt's house with unusual cheerfulness. The car was filled with luggage, and I felt a flicker of excitement. But when my father stepped inside, his expression was strangely bright while my aunt looked uneasy. Anxiety bubbled within me. Then, in a tone that chilled me, my father spread his arms and said, "Look, from now on, this is your new home. We don't need a sick person here." No amount of pleading from my aunt and uncle could sway my parents, whose minds were consumed with funding Noelle's study abroad. My aunt finally declared resolutely, "If you stop her treatment, I will take Sonia in." My parents agreed without hesitation, abandoning me completely. My aunt knelt beside me and gently said, "Your father thought you wanted to leave too. That's why I agreed. But seeing your reaction, it seems you didn't know." "There's still time to speak with them." I shook my head firmly. "No, Auntie. I want to stay here. I'll help around the house. I won't be a burden. Please let me stay." Trembling, I begged, my voice breaking. With a warm smile, my aunt stroked my hair. "Sonia, won't you become our child?" Her words were a balm to my wounded heart. Tears streamed down my face as I whispered, "Yes, please." My uncle hugged me gently, watching over us, and from that day, I became the daughter of my aunt and uncle. Through their love, my health improved and I could finally enjoy physical activity. I joined clubs, pursued trading card competitions despite my seizures, and thrived under their unwavering support. By my second year of high school, I had won the national championship and my seizures had nearly disappeared. A doctor eventually declared me fully healed, as healthy as my sister now, at 22. I am recognized as a top player in the trading card world. A decade has passed since my aunt and uncle took me in, and I feel a deep desire to repay their love. With Christmas approaching, I planned a surprise for them. Upon arriving home one cold winter day, I noticed unfamiliar shoes at the entrance. "I'm home. Is someone here?" I asked hesitantly. In the living room sat a high school girl, and my aunt greeted me warmly. "Welcome back." I froze the girl's face. It looked familiar. Then it hit Minot, Sonia. She whispered softly, grown into someone I barely recognized. But she still had the traces of her younger self when I called her name her. Face twisted as she began to cry, "Sonia, you remembered." I'm so glad she said yes. What's going on? I was unsure how to react, but then my own started to explain. Noelle ran away from home. "What?" I exclaimed, looking at Miss Sister. In surprise, No nodded, wiping away her tears. "Run away. What do you mean?" Sonia helped Minot said with a trembling voice. Then she began to tell me about what had happened at home. Seems that my father driving me out of the home was a hug-a-shock for her. Noelle had pleaded with our parents, crying, "I'll quit basketball, just let Big Sis come home." However, our father harshly scolded her. "What are you saying? It was all for your basketball. You shouldn't do things half-heartedly. I won't accept you quitting. You are your mother's only child. You should work hard and become a respectable player," my mother said in a cooling voice, refusing to take Noelle's words seriously. My parents had thoroughly controlled Noelle's life, forcing her into a basketball-centric existence against her will from childhood. Until she was a senior in high school during a career counseling session, Noelle finally mustered the courage to declare her separation from basketball. Our parents were furious, and my father accused her with a terrifying voice. "Hey, do you have any idea how much money we've spent your sister's sacrifice said for? You're not allowed to stop until you turn pro, feeling mentally no. Well, escape to my aunt's house target, away from the situation. I had no idea. You were in such a citational. I was at a loss for words. While I had been freely raised in my aunt and uncle's home, my sister had been sacrificed by our parents. Noelle, you've even through a lot. I didn't know anything." "I'm sorry," I said. My sister quickly shook her head in surprise. "No, I've been through so much for me, and still I'm asking for help. I'm really sorry." Noelle said, looking down. Her small shoulders were trembling. Don't worry about it. I'm really happy you came here, I replied cheerfully, my aunt and unclented in agreement. That's right. It was good toescape from them, Noelle. Relax. Your big zester will protect you, I said, though deep down, I felt fear and reluctance to get involved. I want to save Noelle, but household I do it, I thought, and began to make plans the day to execute the plan. As Christmas, a cold day under a winter ski that threatened snow. Returning to my parents' home for the first time in 10 years, I gathered my courage and pressed the doorbell. The door was open and forcefully, and my parents greeted me with, "Welcome back." "Oh, we've been waiting for you," said my parents greeted me with unnaturally bright smiles. They must have known about my return through my aunt. They should also understand that it weighs about my sister. "Welcome back, waiting what? Are you talking about after you threw me out?" I questioned their attitude of feeling puzzled. My mother, with a clawing wooze, took my hand as she spoke. "Come on, it's cold. Let's go inside." "No, it's fine here. I'm busy and can't stay long." They replayed shortly, and their faces clouded over for a moment before they quickly put on forked smiles again. Then they began to speak loudly in an unnatural way. "The queen of the trading card world. Ha, your dad is proud of you. Me too. You've won lots of prize money. I've been bragging about it in the neighborhood, so come back soon," my mother said, feeling irritated by their behavior. I calmly responded, "Huh? Why? Because a family should be together, right?" My father responded. I was appalled by his words and glared at them in disbelief. "How dare you say that after abandoning me?" I screamed inwardly. However, my parents seemed oblivious to my attitude and continued to sweet talk. "Me, your mother cleaned up your room when she heard you were coming back. We hope you can relax here. They see, Dan, we even replaced the carpet in your room, so you can feel comfortable to practice at home from now on. Feel free to ask us for anything." They continued. They kept piling on words, trying to win me favor. At that moment, it became clear to me. These people, they're not realistic about me. They're just boasting to the neighbors. They fabricated a story about how they supported my success as a top-tier competitive card player and bragged about it all around the neighborhoods. Send my sister to basketball studies abroad was also just an action done for the sake of appearances. I watched my parents with a cynical smile. "Truly appalling. Your selfish efforts are meaningless, utterly. I'm planning to quit competitive trading card gaming in a few years yet." My parents were shocked. My father was at a loss for words, while my mother looked and competitive card gaming Rocchio's reflexes, concentration, and physical stamina. I can't keep competing with the younger players forever. I plan to retire after earning a bit more prize money. While I spoke cheerfully, my parents were clearly disturbed. "So what will you do after you retire?" my father asked. "Well, I might be unemployed for a while," I answered with a smile, watching their reaction. The fake smiles on my parents' faces disappeared quickly, replaced by angry expressions. "What a nonsense. Buying you employed without a proper job. Do ya have any idea how embarrassing that will be at work?" "Can't even imagine," my father exclaimed. "Yes, so you can forget about me. I never intended to come back to this house anyway," I replied. "How insolent!" my father shouted, his voice siegeed through the quiet neighborhood, causing my mother to panic and look around, wary of the neighbor's eyes. "Firstly, I came here today to discuss Noelle's situation. She is currently living healthily with me at our aunt's house." "What did you say? Have you kidnapped her Thazan for Javel? Give her back to her mother?" Facing my mother, who suddenly pretended to be a victim, I stared her down and declared firmly, "No, I have no intention of giving her back. Absolutely not. I will take care of my sister. What are you talking about?" "I will call the police." While they were agitated, I observed them calmly and responded clearly. "I've already explained the situation to the police and reported it to Child Services. I've consulted with a lawyer as well. In fact, you are the offenders." What did you say?" "I have been consulting various professions to continue supporting my sister, considering the possibility of being accused of kidnapping by my parents. I've also been researching legal regulations since Noelle has reached adulthood at 18. She can legally decide her own residence in future, surpassing parental rights. Noelle, having left home of her own will to avoid negative influences from our parents' faces. No legal problems in choosing to live with them or sister. With this fact behind me, I confidently confronted my parents and engaged them in this conversation. Sting with you only brings unhappiness. My sister and I are not tools for you, Teflon, for your own vanity out of the corner of my eye. I noticed a neighbor up here. Perhaps they had noticed that commotion and came to check what was happening. Now I'll make the most of this opportunity to create a scene. Every one of these people stopped my medicaltry attempt to send my sister to basketball studies abroad. Honestly, it's an abnormal situation. If my aunt and uncle hadn't taken me in, I might not be here today. I shouted as loudly as echoed. Oh wait, what are you saying? Ignoring my flustered mother, I raised my voice even louder to make my point. Yo, forced Noelle into becoming a basketball player just for your own pride, sacrificing her childhood. Quiet down. My father's face was red with anger, and he reached out to grab me. However, he shook off his hand and continued earnestly. What kind of parents are you seeing? You won't accept her quitting until she becomes a professional player. You only see your children as tools. Neither I nor my sister will ever return her. If you try to interfere, I will call the police. Just so you know, I'm already prepared to sue. That's why I came today. Fixed my parents with a stern gazethe, twisted their faces in discomfort, and struggled to respond. Looking around, I noticed that many neighbors we're watching are intense family argument from their windows and yards. Their expressions on their faces showed surprise and concern. I vowed never to visit this place again. With that resolve in my heart, I left the house. Confident line passed, and 8 years later, I reached a milestone at 30 years old and decided to retire from competitive trading card gaming. Originally, I planned to retire at 25 booty, prioritize taking care of my sister, and put my life plans on hold due to thosh training she endured as a child. No. Developed a knee injury which led her to set a new goal of becoming a physical therapist. She had once dreamed of being a professional basketball player, but had to give up that dream duetto. Her injury after a year of preparatory school, Noelle finally advanced a vocational school. During this time, I learned how much she had suffered under our parents, and I saw the harsh reality for the first time when she commuted me for help to make up for her past. I've decided to support her tuition. Eventually, Noelle graduated from vocational school and earned her qualification as a physical therapist. She is now fully committed to helping in athletes. One day I'll repay you, Sonia. Noelle always says cheerfully. Every time we meet, her face is brimming with Veda C.